KEYC News Now to Go is sponsored by River's Edge Hospital and Clinic. People caring for people.
Moments like these make life worth living. River's Edge Hospital and Clinic is your partner in taking control of your own health. Take your steps towards a lasting tomorrow. River's Edge Hospital.
Hello, good morning and happy Wednesday. Thanks for joining us for this KEYC News Now to Go update. I'm Jackson Jurek, and in a few minutes, I'll be joined by First Alert meteorologist Caitlin Lohr with a look at today's forecast and the Memorial Weekend ahead. We start with state news. Minnesota's legislature adjourned Monday at midnight with roughly half of the state's major budget bills unfinished. That means for the first time since 2019, the legislature will need a special session to finalize the budget and avoid a government shutdown. Quinn Gorham tells us what to expect when lawmakers return next week.
The work of unsticking where we have people stuck is going to be the hard part of this next week, but that's what we have to do to get the budget put into place.
As the legislature gavelled out Monday, it was clear that a lot of ground still needed to be covered. Major budget bills on things like education, health, and jobs and labor remain unfinished. Now, the state will need a special session to finalize things.
Lawmakers are working really hard to get things done as soon as possible.
Leaders described next steps following adjournment. The bipartisan and bicameral conference committees that have been working to finish bills will continue to work in a different format.
Tomorrow morning, our conference committees become working groups, and the work will continue going forward. We have to finish this. We don't have a choice.
Those groups will have a deadline to get things moving.
We've given all of the groups that are not done until 5 p.m. on Wednesday, the 21st, to finish up their work. And hopefully at that point, leadership doesn't need to take any bills from people, but hopefully we can give them suggestions that might help them close things up.
Only when the sticking points are ironed out will the governor call a special session.
And when the work's done and they're ready, I'll bring them back for a one-day special session and we'll button things up.
And as far as the timeline goes, it seems unlikely the special session will be called before Memorial Day.
Unless people start working a lot faster than they are right now, it's looking like between May 27th and the end of that week.
In St. Paul, Quinn Gorham, KEYC News Now.
Now the legislature needs to finalize a budget by July 1st to avoid that government shutdown. If the budget remains unfinished on June 1st, they'll need to begin issuing layoff notices. Closer to home, an annual nationwide fundraiser has begun for area food shelves. Aaron Stubbe has more with how you can get involved and what those food shelves are looking for.
I have been with ECHO for 20 years, and these are the highest numbers that we have ever seen.
The National Association of Letter Carriers has held a nationwide fundraiser for local food shelves since 1993. Mankato's chapter is supporting the ECHO food shelf, and residents have until the end of May to participate. Typically, the fundraiser sees Postal Service workers collecting food items, but this year it's been scaled back to only accept monetary donations, a change that ECHO says actually maximizes your donation.
They realize that money goes a lot further, and money just gives us the ability to buy food, larger volumes, more discounts as well. So we're hoping that it's successful, and we're hoping that we can keep going in this direction.
The fundraiser comes as ECHO is in the middle of an expansion project, building a new walk-in freezer that will significantly increase their capacity for buying food and will allow them to accept larger donations than they've previously been able. That project is expected to finish by the end of the month, just in time for the summer months, where temperature control is crucial. ECHO is also working through changes to federal food programs, which they expect to affect both their funding and the need for assistance for local families.
As federal programs are being cut, and as other resources at the state and federal level are being cut and are being looked into, we are expecting our numbers to rise even higher.
In Mankato, Aaron Stuvey, KEYC News Now.
Switching gears, and joining me at the desk now is Caitlin Lohr. Caitlin, to describe the last few days, it's been nothing short of rain, 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 and rain, and now we're finally over that hump for today, tomorrow and Friday before the weekend.
Yeah, you know, we do have just the smallest amount of rain yet to come, but it's not going to be more than 1/10 to 1/4 of an inch, so that's going to be very little compared to what we've gotten so far.
No kidding.
And it's been just gloomy out there. I feel like we are in like the middle of November with the type of weather we've been having, the cooler temperatures, and I'm not gonna lie, I've kind of been enjoying it, just kind of snuggling up with some hot chocolate.
That's fair.
But I'm very excited to see that sun return and the temperatures we have coming next week. So we got a little bit to get through, but we'll start with that warm up tomorrow. So already seeing those improvements on the way. This is our current running total of what we've gotten here at the station since Monday. We're sitting just shy of 2 inches of rain here at the station, and I know this is going to vary depending on where you are. A couple of you have been asking me. I know I just looked at the New Ulm area. New Ulm itself is ranging between 2 1/4 inches up to 2 1/2 inches of rain. There are other areas that are sitting a little bit less than where we are here at in Mankato, or I should say North Mankato at the station. Other sides of the town that you're in, so for example, let's take North Mankato for example, you may have a rain gauge and you're on the other side of town. Your rain gauge may be reading less or more than what we're getting here, and that's very, very, very common and typical when we have rainy situations kind of unfolding over us. What we're dealing with now is that these totals are going to vary from town to town, or even, like I said, from one side of town to the other side of town. You are going to see different totals, and that's because we've had periods of light rain, moderate to heavy rain, thunderstorms at time, and all of that is just going to be dependent on where you're located and what falls in your rain gauge versus what falls in ours, or maybe your cousin's rain gauge that's in another town down the road. And that being said, we're still not quite done with the rain yet. We've got a little bit more on the way, and it's been rainy this morning, but not as much so as showing up on radar. And that's because it's so light and fine that it's not getting picked up, and also because a lot of these clouds that are producing this mist that we're dealing with, very low level cloud coverage, which means they're kind of flying under the radar. No pun intended there, but they are flying under the radar, and the radar is not picking up that rain. So we are dealing with some light, very light rain across the area this morning. That's going to become more scattered and more prominent through this afternoon, continuing to be a little bit heavier than what we're dealing with now through the afternoon and late night hours until it wraps up between midnight and 2 o'clock tomorrow morning, leaving behind some cloudy skies for the rest of the overnight hours. As I mentioned with Jackson, we're looking only at another 1/10 to 1/4 of an inch of rain possible. Some of those areas that could see closer to 1/4 of an inch, the Twin Cities there, Waseca, Mankato, New Ulm, Redwood Falls, Hutchinson, Wilmer. You can see just northwest of Wilmer, we're looking at closer to 1/2 inch of rain. So a lot of that is going to be from the Mankato area, or I would say that Wilmer area southeastward through Albert Lee down into northeastern Iowa, and then east of there is where we could see 1/4 of an inch. That means areas west and south of Mankato looking more at 1/10 of an inch or less yet to come. It is going to stay cooler today with a high of 50 degrees with those showers still yet to come, but they will wrap up tonight, leaving behind a low of 43 degrees by tomorrow morning. Tomorrow we're going to start off with cloud coverage, but don't worry, I promised improvements already starting tomorrow, and that's in both temperature-wise and sunshine-wise. We'll see those clouds break apart, lead to a little bit of afternoon sunshine with temperatures hovering in the low to mid 60s through the afternoon hours. After that, as we go into the weekend, those clouds are unfortunately going to build back up, but rain should hold off until late Saturday night, if not until Sunday. Could have a couple isolated showers on Monday. Keep that in mind for your Memorial Day weekend plans. But the good news is, going into next weekend, it is going to be absolutely beautiful as we close out May with highs in the 70s.
Close out May. Oh my gosh.
We are there. We are there.
Wow.
June is a week and a half away.
Went by really fast. That's kind of crazy. All right. Well, thank you very much, Caitlin. Hopefully the first week of June is absolutely gorgeous. We got a quick little sports snippet here. The Minnesota State baseball team is well represented with 5 Mavericks earning all region honors. Louis Moggers and Nathan Culley each first team, while Matthew Fleischacker, Ike Mazinga, and Aiden Byrne earned second team honors. Moggers hit 20 home runs this season, one shy of the team lead behind Mazinga. He also hit .319 and had a .272 earned run average on the mound. Culley went 12-1 this year with a .252 earned run average and 98 strikeouts to lead the team. Fleischacker hit .377 this season at the top of the Mavericks lineup, and Byrne sent the MSU program records for career walks, singles, hits, and runs batted in. Mazinga broke the team's single-season home run record with 21 long shots. Impressive from all of those players. As a team, Minnesota State tied the single season for most wins in program history with 51. That'll do it for us here today. Thank you very much, Caitlin. And of course, thanks for watching this KEYC News Now to Go update. Stay with KEYC News Now for the latest local news, weather, and sports on our website.
Sunshine returns tomorrow, but as always, download the free KEYC News and weather apps for the latest headlines and forecast.